And hello once again, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Irv Homer Show. Thing we do here Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. New time schedule is 4 to 5, and that will be our schedule for the year 2009. Once again, it is December the 29th, Monday, 2008. The telephone number, if you care to make a comment in closing out this year, we will not be on Wednesday, so this will be the last program of this year on the Irv Homer Show here at broadcasting from irvhomer.com. So if you have any comments to make to close out this year, our telephone number is 215-253-8877, 215-253-8877. Our chat room is available for you for your questions or your comments. Doesn't necessarily have to respond. I don't have to necessarily respond to anything that you say. I will if I want to. I won't if I want to. This is a very informal program, and so I just want you to know the format. I'll say things on this program that may offend you. It may not make sense to you. If you have any questions about it, please feel free to challenge me, etc. and so forth. If you want to check my website out, it is www.irvhomer.com. You may email me at evilirv@irvhomer.com. And all of the technical work put this thing together is by RGH Computer Services for all your computer needs. I have to thank my son Ron for putting this together and making this thing so successful this past year in 2008, and hopefully we'll make it grow even more in 2009. We do enjoy an audience that grows almost daily. Once again, this program can be seen and heard on the archive, so a lot of folks pick it up on the archive because of the time restraints that they have while they're out trying to make a living. Before I go into what I would like to go into, and of course before you folks respond to anything that I may say or that you want to get on the chat room or phone calls, the year 2008 has been a very good year for me and my family. That is my immediate family. That's Ron, me, the dog, Shayna, and Shirley. We've had a very good year, both financially, both morally, both friendly-wise, and productive-wise. I can understand why many folks are hurting this time of the year, and it is because you didn't learn anything the last couple of years. And unfortunately, from what I hear around the dials and my own radio program, with all due respect, ladies and gentlemen, I just boggles my mind how some elderly people are so thick. I have no idea how some of the email that I get from successful people in their particular field just don't have the faintest idea of what the hell's going on. And I could understand in a country that doesn't have libraries, in a country that doesn't have sources of information today that you can not only investigate yourself, but create new ideas and thoughts for yourself. And so, at one time, I was against the flood of immigrants coming into America. But when you see the typical American, 2 and 3 generations, that just don't read or study or who are inquisitive, I can understand why immigrants are so successful in America. Many people that I speak to scratch their head. Herb, how come all the 7-Elevens are owned by the Arabs? How come all are owned by the Indians? How come they can't speak it? Well, maybe they're doing something that Boobus America doesn't do, and that is to learn and educate yourself how America works. Instead of bitching in the year 2009 about immigrants taking your job or taking American jobs, it would seem to me that Americans would be more productive, learn more, advance themselves to prevent anyone from taking their job. You see, ladies and gentlemen, in the employee-employer relationship, you do your job right. You show progress to your employer. You move and educate yourself and learn. You're going to become a valuable commodity to that employer. And you won't have to worry about anybody taking your job. And to you employers, it's not important whether you like the employee or the way the employee dresses or the way the employee looks. Does your employee do the job that you pay him for, and can you look forward to that employee moving up and being a benefit to you as they gain more knowledge about your business? Compensate that employee to a point where he won't want to leave you and open up his own business to go in competition with you. We must, in this country, which I've advocated as an employee for the last 30-some years, not to have an adversary posture with your employer. By the same token, it's incumbent upon employers not to be a horse's ass and think he's a slave owner. This concept apparently has been lost somewhere along the line in America. You ever notice very few Oriental people, Asian people, are on welfare or looking for a handout? Because their culture and their pride apparently prevent them from being a bum. For those people that are disabled, handicapped, birth defects, we must show all the compassion in the world too. People who have mental problems, suffering from every type of chronic disease, we must show compassion and understanding to. But to those people who have matured and are still stupid, there is no excuse. In doing commercial radio, I am frustrated with what I hear across the dials. The little things that are made a big issue out of. I would like you people to respond on my website, or rather on the email, or on the telephone, or on the chat room, of how many of you personally have ever come in contact with gay or lesbian people? Or are you all bent out of shape because you heard something in your church or synagogue or temple, or read something in the newspaper, or saw a picture of outrageous demonstrations in San Francisco? How many of you have ever come in contact with gay and lesbians, and have you ever spoken to them with a no punches pulled conversation? You have, Ron.
Yeah.
Okay.
My best friend's a lesbian.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you feel threatened by her as a lesbian?
No.
Does she feel threatened from you?
No.
So when you hear all of this monkey business, you probably say, what the hell are they all bent out of shape about?
Doesn't bother me. I mean, she's great. I mean, we're still friends. I've known her since I was going on 30 years. So it's just something that it's just like she's a friend. So I don't think anything. I mean, we don't. I mean, she's introduced me some of her friends that were the male version of it, and they didn't make passes at me. They knew I was straight, so it was a thing where they were cool. We had no problem. So it was just that's the way what they chose to do in life. But it wasn't that they didn't push their lifestyle on me.
And that makes sense. The thing that I find objectionable is that those who are the most ignorant in our society both young and old, male and female, have never spoken to a gay, has spoken to a lesbian, has ever socialized with these folks in a conglomeration of attitudes, cultures, and sexual preference, but they know everything. And the dummies of both the left and the right must be instructed by we who have enough common sense to recognize that we are not all alike and that we must guarantee constitutional rights to everyone in this country. And the reason that people may appear to be liberal, I have finally figured out why. Because they have educated themselves and avail themselves of the brotherhood of man who may be different. And most bigots and most racists and most terrorists are ignorant, and I mean ignorant, of any other point of view. It boggles my mind that old people in our society can be as dumb as they are. And I've looked at 60, 65, 70, I said to myself, what the hell did these people do with their lives? They don't know a damn bit more now than they did when they were 30. I was interviewed today with a reporter for about an hour and 10 minutes. And when I got home, I was asked, how'd the interview go? I says, I won't know until I read the article that will appear in the Northeast Times. And I don't even know when the article will appear, and I don't care. The reporter, a fine young man by my standard of age, seemed to be completely flabbergasted by the interview. And couldn't understand why I wasn't a liberal or a conservative or a libertarian or anything, because I don't take sides on issues. With an agenda, I will take a particular point of view on an issue. One of the things that confused him today was a statement I made about Caroline Kennedy, who is jockeying to be the New York senator to replace Hillary Clinton. And I said it is grossly unfair for the major media not to go after Caroline Kennedy the same as they did when Sarah Palin, the governor of Alaska, was proposed and selected to be the vice presidential candidate on the Republican Party. If Sarah Palin is to be torn apart on Saturday Night Live, if the, quote, media, and I won't use liberal or conservative media, I will say the media, including myself, who felt that Sarah Palin was not qualified to be the vice president. In my opinion, she's got too much baggage. Doesn't necessarily have the qualifications. Maybe totally qualified, but she's got baggage. She can't talk about moral values and illegitimate children when her own daughter is knocked up. She can't talk about her future in-laws if they ever get married, who was arrested for drugs. And although Sarah Palin herself isn't guilty of it, that baggage hangs on to her. The same as the crazy brother of Jimmy Carter, Billy Carter, was a noose around the neck of President Jimmy Carter. But who was Caroline Kennedy? And what is her claim to fame to be a senator of one of the largest states in the United States to represent this country, to represent the constituents of New York State. None. So the poor reporter didn't know, well, Irv, are you a conservative? I said, neither. I think what is fair is fair. If Sarah Palin was attacked unconscionably by the media, made fun of, criticized, then Caroline Kennedy, if she can't take it, doesn't deserve to be a senator. And if the people want her to be a senator, let them vote for her or approve her from the governor's appointment in New York and overcome the negative criticism that she may receive from people like myself. Our telephone number is 215-253-8877, and our chat room is available. And I've almost decided just to make commentary for an hour instead of taking stupid phone calls or stupid chat rooms. I have no idea. And when I say this, I do not mean it viciously if I criticize somebody. I will go out of my way to help anyone who I may criticize if they need help. So please don't take this personal. But for 20 minutes in the opening of my commercial radio program, the thing that could possibly plunge the Middle East into a war is the final comment by the Secretary of Defense of the Nation of Israel, who said, with the cooperation of the Knesset, which is the Israeli complement of our Senate, Congress, that they will not take any more rockets fired from Gaza. And so launched airstrikes against the Hamas, which is the elected government of the Gaza Strip. And it's not a strip. The Hamas government that was elected by the people of Gaza over the Fatah party, which is the party that rules the West Bank, won the election. That means the majority of people in Gaza advocate the total and complete destruction of the nation of Israel. Now, I am wondering, while the world is rising up in righteous indignation against Israel, the United States right now is looking at the possibility of Iran developing a nuclear weapon, and also looking at the delivery system of a nuclear weapon, which is more important than having the weapon itself. A nuclear bomb is no good unless it can be delivered by something, whether it be a missile or whether it can be an aircraft. Now, as long as Iran is saying that Israel should be wiped off the face of the earth with nuclear destruction, America will rise up in righteous indignation and condemn Ahmadinejad of Iran. But let Iran make a statement like Hamas makes against Israel, and Ahmadinejad says, we're developing a delivery system of a nuclear weapon to destroy the United States, as Hamas did in Gaza, who in their declaration of their so-called constitution, without reservation, qualification, or exceptions, has declared a national Fatah to destroy the nation of Israel and all the Jews in it. So I don't think the American government, and we Americans, would stand idly by if Iran had a coalition with Mexico and they were shooting rockets into Texas. And we would sit idly by and not do anything about it. President Bush, in one of his statements last week, made about the most stupid statement I think he's ever made in his life. And he's made some dumb ones. Made some smart ones too, but some dumb ones. When he pleaded with the Israeli government to try to protect the innocent civilians of the Gaza Strip. Well, since President Bush believes in democracy and elections, maybe he didn't know that the people of the Gaza Strip voted the Hamas government to represent them. Which basically means that all of the Gaza Strip residents support the destruction of Israel. And if Israel inadvertently kills civilians, they are basically killing the enemies of the state. As we are, for years, looking for the terrorists that blew up 9/11. But we're really not looking for the terrorists that blew up 9/11, because the average boobus American has absolutely no idea of what the purpose of Islam is on planet Earth. And you should be ashamed of yourself as you old farts die and leave your children and your grandchildren in a position of vulnerability to be killed by the social, philosophical, legal, and terroristic Islamic growth in the world. I don't say to be paranoid over it, but you damn sight better read and learn what is happening in this country when, as we speak, there are Islamic demonstrations all over this country right now demanding an attack on the nation of Israel by Iran. But Boobus America is busy scratching his ass and picking his nose, and in the Philadelphia area thrilled over the fact that a football game yesterday was won by the Philadelphia Eagles against the Texas Cowboys. I predict in the year 2009 that if more than 20% of the people in America don't learn and educate themselves, this country will lose the position it has maintained as a world power and a country that has constitutional rights. You're going to lose it. You don't have to worry about the Islamists. You don't have to worry about the terrorists, because history has proven that great civilizations die from within, not from outside. The United States right now, in my opinion, is a pretty shiny apple. And when you cut that apple open, it's rotten inside. We're going to be tested under the Obama administration, make no mistake about it. We will be tested both financially, both militarily, and by terrorists. And I fear that most people in America would rather submit to slavery, giving up their rights and freedom for some type of security. And so, my dear friends, this is a prophecy for the year 2009. Unless Boobus America, which is basically European America. America was built with European culture, with European technology, with European financial wherewithal. It was not built with African culture. It was not built with Central and South American culture. It was not built with Catholic culture or Protestant culture or Jewish culture. It was built on the desire to be free, with a culture that made Europe and created empires in Europe with art, technology, medicine, philosophy. And unless America maintains that type of ideology of freedom and European culture and heritage, this country will turn into an Africa. This country will turn into a Central and South American country. And I'm not saying that to demean Africans. I'm not saying it to demean Central and South Americans or Hispanics. But if you take a look at your countries, you didn't do shit. The only country that really managed in the last 200 and some years to develop with the progress that it did was a country built on European culture, European know-how. What are the finances of Central and South America? What are the finances of the countries in Central and South Africa? Any of the progressive countries in Central and South America, or Asia, or Africa, or from those people who went to Britain, went to Oxford, went to Cambridge, come to Notre Dame, come to New York University to learn, because they don't have it in their own countries. It's not their culture. The people of India that came to this country and have the supermarkets, have the Asian takeout restaurants, learn how America works, learned how European culture works, learned how European finance worked. I won't say capitalism, but they learned how finance works. While for 400 years, African Americans have been in this country since 1985. They were set free legally and still are the most incarcerated, the most difficult in schools, and most on welfare. Now, there's something wrong someplace, and it's not to blame African Americans, but their culture doesn't dictate to European culture. It's difficult to make these kind of statements without being considered a racist, anti-Spanish, anti-this, anti-everything. But those people in the Hispanic community that have risen to a position of prominence in our law system, in our courts, in our business, adopted European culture to become successful. We'll go to the chat room. Irv, do you agree with me that Israel should take back the Gaza Strip, the West Bank, and the bottom half of Lebanon and close its borders? I agree with you, but there's one condition. When you occupy a territory like the Gaza Strip, the West Bank, and the lower half of Lebanon, logistically, it costs an awful lot of money to occupy that territory. It costs a tremendous amount of the national budget of Israel to support a people who do not have Western culture. And Israel, my dear friends, is a country of Europeans. a lot of Sabras born in Israel. But basically, the immigration to Israel was from Germany, Austria, all of the country, Poland, all of the countries on the European continent where Jews were persecuted, Russia, and came to Israel. And in the middle of 22 Arab nations made up of dictators, Punjabs, imams, with no financial culture, no concept of freedom, no concept of equality, this little bastion here of Israel is a cancer in the whole part of the Middle East, and they don't want the people of those countries to learn from what Israel has to offer. What must be done is for the American State Department to hire the best public relations company in the country. The company that sold you the hula hoop, the country that sold you Slinky, the company that sold you cars that blew up. Get a coalition of the public relations firms and advertising agencies and sell the American dream to the people in those countries surrounding Israel. Let them throw the Saudi government the hell out and enjoy the fruits of the oil revenue for the people that would have a free and unencumbered government, and throw them bums out with the bathrobes and the bed sheets that they wear. Or the tyrant of Syria, or the phony in Iran, or Libya. You can't change a person's mind by killing them. The Romans learned that with the Christians. They tried to kill the Christians by putting them in Circus Maximus and feed them to the lions, and it didn't work. You can't kill an idea with bullets or lions or bombs. You can convert people, change their mind of thinking for their own betterment. The Catholic Church learned it when it had an army with the Inquisition, the Crusades. The Catholic Church learned you can convert with love. And so they disbanded their armies and their Inquisitions and their Crusades. Islam will convert because it denounces the terrorists, the Islamic terrorists. The Islamic terrorists are part of the forefront. The Islamic terrorists, ladies and gentlemen, are the Christian Crusaders, are the Inquisition, until the world gets the attention of Islam. Then they will start, as they are doing now, the conversion process to Islam. And the biggest place that they're converting is in the prisons of America. We did not convert the Nazis. We converted the Italians, and we converted the Japanese. The Japanese were permitted after World War II to keep their emperor. But they converted the Japanese so that they became productive, competitive with America, and enjoy a freedom and democracy comparable to what we have, but they still have the emperor. In Germany, they never converted the Nazis because the Nazi movement and anti-Semitism in Germany and in Poland is as great as it ever was. So they had to declare it illegal. They never declared Tojoism in Japan as illegal, but they had to do it there. Because unless you convert the Islamic terrorists. You can kill them all you want. The fact of the matter is they kill themselves. They're willing to die for them themselves with suicide bombs. This is the ignorance that people do not know about that frustrates me as a talk show host on a little radio station where the biggest thing up there, God bless them. God bless the folks up there. And I mean it sincerely because they're nice, decent folks, but they don't know shit about what's going on. Pardon my French. And unfortunately, that's about 25% of the people in this great country. We're not going to be beaten from an outside force around the world. We're destroying ourselves inside. Give them Sunday football. Give them pro wrestling. Give them NASCAR. Give them the casinos. Give them plays, movies, entertainment. That's all the American people are interested in. T-O, B-O, P-O. Half of them don't even know where the hell Iran is. Give them sweatshirts and T-shirts and jackets with a football name on it. So my prophecy is... What's that?
Or a Sarah Palin calendar.
Or a Sarah Palin calendar or a Sarah Palin glasses. So my prophecy for 2009 is we'll collapse from within. You cannot bail out the automobile industry with billions of dollars that we don't have. We cannot bail out a country that is destined to destroy itself economically by losing $15-20 billion a year in the casinos gambling and borrowing money from China, who is now yelling because we're not paying them back. Why we can't finance our own war and pay ourselves back the debt boggles my mind. Reporter asked me, Irv, what do you see for the future? I said, I see happy people losing their home. People who do not want big government. People who are against big government. But they want to be bailed out by that big government. Do you know any conservative who is willing to deposit money in the Homer Bank of Finance? See, Homer's bank is not insured by the FDIC. See, Bernie Madoff, who people were so damn greedy, I say greedy, religious institution, mortgage companies, unions, didn't like big government, so they didn't want FDIC insured deposits. Well, they gave you Bernie Madoff because Bernie Madoff is not insured and you lost your ass. Don't cry to me because you lost money with Bernie Madoff. Don't cry to me. You deserve to lose it. You deserve to lose the money from your boys' club, your church, your synagogue, to a bookkeeper or treasurer who gambled the assets of the organization away because you wanted gambling so mom and pop can sit in front of a penny machine for 3 hours so you don't have to put up with them around the house. Our telephone number, 215-253-8877. God destroyed a whole city. Is this because they were gay? I thought God created everyone. I think earlier in the program I said the last thing I want are stupid ass questions. Did you ever think, was God married? Why did God need the angel to knock up Mary? Why didn't he do it himself? Maybe God was a neutral or God was gay. I don't know.
Didn't want to pay child support.
But that's a good point. He didn't want to pay child support. And what makes you think God destroyed a whole city? God is a faith, not a reality. I thought God created everyone. No, my father and mother created me. And their father and mother created them. And their father and mother created them. Now I have a deal with God. If you created me, God, I'm willing to hear you, and I'll even give you my unlisted phone number. I do not have the faith, my dear friend, that you have. I don't expect the God to get me in trouble, and I don't expect God to get me out of it. If I get in trouble, it is my being, and if I get out of it, it is my being. And that's the name of that tune. They want to pass a law, State Representative Josh Shapiro, in Pennsylvania, to prevent people from using a car phone, handheld, while they're driving. In my opinion, they should ban car phones, period. Do you mean to tell me that people are that stupid? And they are. To drive with one hand on a cell phone on I-95. See, ladies and gentlemen, I said there should be a law against stupidity. And that is stupid. The average automobile today has got more damn buttons and whistles and pings in it to detract you from driving the damn thing than patch hell a mile while it has the power to go 140 miles an hour. Now, I don't care how skilled you are. You take a look at the average dashboard of an automobile today. The damn thing looks like the cockpit of a 747. You need a co-pilot in an automobile today. The radio on my car alone has 6 buttons that will hold 12 FM stations and 12 AM stations and a CD button and a tape button, and a button for advance, and a button for retract, and a button for hold, and a button for mute. Now, I'm on I-95, and the cell phone rings. Let me see. Do I push the mute button? Do I push the down button? Do I want to kill the CD and put on KYW here traffic? What in the hell are they worried about a cell phone for when your damn car's got more buttons on it than you need? Then Boobus America buys a car and pitches a bitch about the cost of automobile insurance. Do you know that every one of those little damn things on there have to be replaced if you get in an accident? And that's why maybe your insurance is high as it is. On another topic, Irv, did you read about the charter schools in today's Inquirer? I glanced over at Art in Philadelphia, and I really can't speak with any knowledge on the success or the failure of the charter schools. Two things, but I basically maintain the one thing, and I will have you on the air, Art, as a guest. Will you book Art after the first of the year, Ron, to talk about education?
When here?
Yeah, here. Or maybe, it depends. If he wants to come up on the radio station up there, fine. Or down here, wherever it's more comfortable for him.
All right.
Unless we decide to stop bullshitting each other, that children are our most precious commodity. If I hear that one more time, I'm going to throw up. That's why 4 Liberian kids got burnt to death in a cellar, because those little whippers were the most important entity in our society, and that's why we rape little kids, including the Catholic Church, and cover it up. When are we going to stop bullshitting ourselves? You can't make a rose out of an onion. And I will say this as an atheist or as an agnostic. A child needs 3 things to succeed as I see it. One is some type of moral background, whether it be from religion or home environment. Number 2, it needs 2 parents who are concerned about educating that child. And number 3, a stable home, so that that child can come home to an environment of education, not an environment of playing widget baits and worried about taking. I took my son to the football. You ever take your kid to a library? No. Well, I took him to the Eagles game. Big friggin' deal. You took your kid to an Eagles game. What the hell did he learn there? Unless you give him all the increments before he gets into school, leave him the hell at home. You go to the Eagles game and act like a horse's ass. Let the kid get an education. See, if I was Mayor Nutter, I would keep the libraries open, take the money away from the Mummers Parade. I like Mummers. I know the guys. It's a frivolous waste of money right now when things are critical. But then assign every child and give every child a jacket with a number on the back of the library that child goes to. Rather than have some stupid Eagles jacket or Cowboys jacket or Giants jacket or some other friggin' jacket that don't mean diddly squat, let him put the number of the library he goes to.
Ooh. And the name of the library at the top.
That's right.
Or the logo.
Feltville Library. I attend.
I like that.
And then if you want to raise money, Mayor Nutter, sell the name of the library to a corporation. I told you to sell the damn bridges. I don't need Delaware Memorial Bridge. Make it the Cigna Bridge. The Burlington-Bristol Bridge, we could sell it to DuPont. Sell the library name and get $1 gazillion from the corporations. Too hard for you to think.
The Lincoln Financial Library.
The Lincoln Financial. They name a football stadium to keep that damn thing open and rebuild it, but they can't sell a library name to keep the library open.
T&D books and library.
But the same nitwit will buy a star someplace and have his name. Oh, God almighty. Is there no sanity in this world, folks? I bought a star. Which one, Marvin? It's in the... What? I admire this guy who is conning people to have a star named after them. I say, you want to make money, Mayor Nutter, Commissioner Corley, Commissioner Marseglia, I would pay $100 to name the fire plug outside my house to name it Shayna. I'll pay $100 a year to name that fire plug after my dog. And I know my neighbor would pay $100 a year for the fire plug outside of his house to name it after his dog. Yeah. There's no creative thinking in this country anymore. Recently, I saw a woman with a child in her car, a cell phone in one hand, and a cigarette in the other. Between the secondhand smoke and the stupid driving, the child was at great risk. Should be a fine and worse for a second offense. So says Art of Philadelphia. Well, Art, the child was at great risk, and so was the driver. But my dear friend Art, we were at a risk because that nutcase could have blown a stop sign or a red light. If you're a true libertarian, Art, and you believe that you're responsible for your own failings, she kills her kid because she's smoking and holding a cell phone, that's her problem. But I don't want that bitch driving on the same road with me. She may have even taken a Valium before she got in the car, Art. See, I don't care if people drink and drive, as long as they kill themselves. You don't get it. People have a right to do whatever they want to as long as they are not only the perpetrator, but are the victim. It is when they're the perpetrator, folks, and we are the victim, that I object to. One of the things that I hope President Obama does is have a war, a crime against stupid. We are winding up this year of 2008. I am not going to go through a whole list of what the greatest news story was, the worst news story was, the best actor was, the best show was, the best is that. I don't play that game, and I'll tell you why. Because each one of you, in your own way, knows what was the greatest story of your life. Each one of you, in your own way, knows what affected you the most. Each one of you, in your own way, know what you have to do to make your life better for the year 2009. And each one of you, Shane, I told you I'm going to name a fire plug after you. Now stop barking. I'm going to give $100 to the township to name the fire plug after you. So you know what the greatest story was in 2008 that affected you. You know what you're going to have to do in 2009. The old rules, ladies and gentlemen, that you lived by in 2008 that didn't work, don't do again in 2009. Start being more self-sufficient. Start realizing that if you do the same thing over again, you're going to get the same results. One of the things that keeps me doing this program and doing a program on WBCB at 1 o'clock Monday through Friday are emails that I get from time to time. Like one that I received today. And the writer of this email says, so that I don't feel all alone as a person who thinks, if you ever stop broadcasting, I will then think that all the people only know movie stars and soap operas. They're very nice people. Unfortunately, I'm surrounded by them. None of them have any idea about America's freedoms or their responsibilities. Even the one who believes herself to be religious doesn't think I should be fighting the battles I am. She thinks I should just let it happen and let God sort it out in the end. Arlene, I know how you feel. Trouble is, Arlene, that you got to do what you got to do, and I got to do what I got to do. And unfortunately, those that are waiting for God to save their ass are going to be waiting while you and I are going to be sliding the crap that they're leaving on the behind, because God ain't going to wipe their ass for them anymore. So hang on to your drawers, ladies and gentlemen. And if you're used to shoot-a-shoots, if you're used to going to the amusement parks, you ain't seen nothing yet. You ain't seen nothing yet. But then again, folks, did you ever wonder why? And I often thought of this. You ever wonder why God picked Noah and his family to put on the ark and save them? Apparently, God thought more of the animals than he thought of the people, because he put animals on the damn ark instead of more human beings. Now, suppose President Bush said, the shit's going to hit the fan, I got a big luxury liner, and I'm only going to put one family on there, I'm going to fill the damn thing up with apes, baboons, elephants, giraffes, and they'll shit all over the damn cruise ship. You think he's nuts. But if this God put Noah on the ark, he knew that the rest of the society were a bunch of horses' ass and weren't worth saving. So if you see a bunch of cruise ships pulling up to Delaware and docking along Delaware Avenue and docking along the Camden waterfront, and some big guy with a white beard is there saying, "Come forth, Homer and his family, and bring one of each animal," I can only tell you that your ass is cooked for the year 2009. So my thing is, all of my listeners, all of my viewers should be a Noah and get on the ark. And if the rest of society drowns, that's their problem. I'm Irv Homer. I'll see you next year.